Hey, so what we'll do is we'll take one of the questions that is generally asked in product management,
Okay.
uh, and then you can go about an answer. So like usually the answer uh, is it's not like a one way answer. It's more of a to and fro conversation. So you can try to ask as many clarifying questions as you want.
Sure.
And great. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is I want you to design a product for improving the gym experience, or sort of like a high tech gym.
Right.
Uh, yeah,
Okay. So it will be physical product, right? We don't have to design some sort of app or something for better gymming experience, or is it a tangible physical product which is inside the gym just to improve the customer experience?
so it can be anything you want. So it can be either, I mean, I would prefer a digital product. So
Okay.
sort of, that can basically improve the experience, or like improve the other metrics like number of people that visit the gym and things like
Okay. And for the gym, is it, I mean, what kind of gym is it? What is the scale of the gym? Is it a chain of gyms present in all over the country and we are looking forward to scale it all together? Or is it some kind of maybe corporate gym where, people with similar backgrounds come in and let's say a gym in the society where people who are relatively not so much new to each other, they come like as a community.
that. Right. So you can think of a normal gym, like let's say something like a Gold's Gym.
Okay. uh, yeah, so let's say if I define that, who all usually are, the gymmers who actually visit the normal gyms, and basically the user segmentation. So the one segment is which is coming forward, that is before 18, like pre 18 years old. They actually haven't. Uh, Particularly those people, the teenagers, don't usually visited the gyms at earlier times. But nowadays, we are seeing that even 15 years, 16 years of age are going to gyms and all. So that is one user segment which can be looked upon. Um and the other one is the millennials and the working professional, that is maybe 20 to 40 kind of age range. And the third one is above 40 and maybe above 45, that is people who are very physically conscious about their health and all, and they have been going to gyms throughout their at least for the last 5 to 10 years, and that's why they want to continue this. uh,
Sure, sure.
so
So basically, you're saying below 18, 18 to 40, and
18
above.
to
Yeah. Okay.
45.
All right.
So I guess the if I have to select one user segment for which I have to improve the experience, that should be the middle one, that is 18 to 40 or 45. Reason being, uh, millennials is one major reason, that since these people are actually, they are involved in this fast life with a lot of hustle and bustle, and they are now becoming health conscious because of their fast moving lifestyle. They want to contribute at least 1 or 1.5 hour of their day towards their body and towards their physical fitness. And this is a growing space, and a lot of since India is particularly a young country, we can actually focus on this.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, like, what are what did you what are the reasons you want to focus on this for? Because,
So these people are really health conscious.
okay,
The user segment is quite big. So if we build a product or something which actually gains traction, it will be scaled, very rapidly, because we have a lot of people there in the market with similar background and with that particular segmentation. So if I try to build a user persona kind of thing, I can actually target 2 or 3 multiple kind of personas in this particular segment, and this segment is easy to scale. If I would have chosen a segment of 45 plus or 50 plus, then I would have been focusing on some particular product which will be helping older people to like using the modern equipments or something. Or if I would have chosen user segment of, let's say, 15 to 16-year-old, I would have created a device kind of thing which will be guiding the young people to use the modern machines and not actually carrying heavyweight things and all those things, just to so I would be really precautious in both the cases. And my thing box would be constrained by those particular age and physical fitness kind of thing.
Sure. Go ahead. So you have picked this segment.
Right. So now I have to create a high-tech gym for people who are in this particular age group. Now, if I want to list out some of the features, some of the qualities of these users, I mean, when I say that, what are they? I mean, what are they doing? So I can understand, as I earlier said, that if I talk about urban cities where the gyms are specifically highly penetrated in the middle of urban areas, people are actually really busy out there. So they don't want a product or feature which is time consuming. So since they are attending the gyms in a 45-minute slot or something like that, uh, we should really focus on a feature which will be, let's say, which will be providing the best of its kind experience in that particular time slot. Also, at the same time, we should be uh, take care in mind that we should be keeping this in mind that all these people are really acceptable to change. I mean, so they are not traditional kind of people who may stick with us for a long time just for the sake of the relationship which we are building. So we have to bring such kind of a feature that will actually retain people, because if we are using a technology in the gym, there might be a lot of gyms outside who can copy our technology and then acquire our customers. So we should build something which in which time is a constraint and which experience is a constraint, and which can retain the customers for a longer time.
Sure. So you mentioned like time is a constraint. Okay. So these customers have less time, is what you're saying, right?
Hmm.
And what was the other point? So you're trying to define like the customer behavior, right? The behavior of this user segment.
Right. So the second point after the time was the experience in those 40-45 minutes.
Right.
Let's say, uh, for example, if I am just uh, trying to save users time, save the consumers time, and he is actually visiting. So where the time lag can occur. Time lag can occur if the gym is running on its full efficiency at some particular peak hour or kind of thing. Then
Right.
users may have to wait for their turn to use those gym equipments. So
Right.
that is one thing where time is a constraint. So if we are trying to build an app or something, we can actually use this for booking the machine slots or something, that if you want to use a treadmill, then
Sure.
I mean, these are the free slots and this kind of
So,
thing.
so what you're saying is one of the things that could cause like users to not come to the gym or like discourage them would be the fact that they're wasting a lot of time in the gym and not able to do get much done.
Right,
That,
right. And I mean, availability of the gym equipments is one thing, because, so for example, if I consider my case only, I could have gone to gym if at 7 a.m. the machine equipments are available. But I know that to actually utilize all the gym equipments, I have to wake up at 5, which I couldn't. So I have to figure out at what time and on what day it is available. So I have noticed that on Saturdays, 7 a.m. equipments are available, but on weekdays 7 a.m. it is not available, because working class people actually, some of them prefer going to gym before their offices and work.
Right.
So if the app is real time updating me that yes, the equipment is available, or I can book a slot for the machine, that will be one convenient help for me.
Sure. Anything else other than time that could be like a pain point for the user because of which they don't come, or like they're not interested?
Right. So one more thing, as I was talking about the experience, I mean the user get in that 45-minute slot.
Right.
So nowadays, since after the introduction of this virtual gym and what CureFit is trying to do,
Right.
people are actually realizing that these are also an alternate options, right? I mean, gymming through a website, through an app or something, and a lot of devices, gadgets, and apps are out there just to make people fit, and so people are actually looking an alternate for gyms because they were kind of bored with the traditional gyms, and now they're transforming to they are I mean they're shifting to one such experience, which is using this gamification kind of thing, which is personalized for the users. They can see the videos anytime and all this kind of thing. Now
Right.
we are creating a high-tech gym. I believe that can we do something like this, that we are creating an app for that particular gym.
Right.
We are so the time factor is definitely one feature, that we can book the slots and we can see that what kind of machines are available or not. In that particular app, we can actually introduce things like, for example, when uh, I'm doing my workout at that particular time, the app can track my physical activities. Maybe it can be connected to the machines, the equipments in the gym, uh, all those kind of things. So when I use Google Fit, what are the basic reasons of using it? That it can track my physical activity. It can play music along with my workout time, and it is actually following the gamification model that I have to achieve this much target and all. So what happens in the traditional gyms, that nothing like that is happening. A gym trainer comes and says that you have to do it for 30 minutes. But
Right.
what if we modernize that particular experience, that in the gymming equipment we can connect our application maybe with Bluetooth, or we can use Internet of Things or some
So,
kind.
like, just to give it a little more structure,
Hmm.
maybe like we can finalize two or three pain points that you want to address, like time and the experience, and then like we can get into the solution part of it.
Right. So if I redefine my pain points, one is the time and I mean, if I state the problems which user face. So
Right.
one problem would be that if I am a user, I have to wait for a long time just to get into the machine, and then I am late for all my daily activities.
Right.
Second problem will be, I also want to have the same experience which users going to virtual gym have. So I want to listen to music at the same time while doing the gym. I want to listen that how many calories I have burned, or maybe what I have to do next. So some kind of automated device which will keep motivating me throughout my workout.
Right.
Uh,
So basically, the problems you're saying is time. Another is like the gamification. I mean, the lack of gamification,
right.
say, or and like the lack of tracking as to like what I have done. And
Right. So apart from the modern, apart from very few equipments, not all of them actually record my working activities, right? I mean, treadmill definitely covers that how many kilometers I have walked down and what are my calories burned. But what if I am lifting something? So I can I can, switch on that particular exercise mode on my application, and I'll say that I'll now do push-ups for next 30 minutes. The app will definitely, I guess the data would be available according to my age and all that, how many calories I am burning out if I'm doing push-ups for 30
right,
minutes. Google Fit does it, so I guess we can also do that.
right. Sure. So these are some problems you want to address. So now, like, how would you, like, do you have any ideas on how to go about it?
Right. So now, so I would like to say again.
So maybe like even before going into the solution,
Mhm.
so like maybe like we can pick like one of the pain points which you think is like the the most
Right.
overarching pain point, and like that can define like the product vision, and like we can.
Right. So I have to prioritize my solutions which I need to address to.
Right.
If I take care about, I mean, those fixed parameters that, let's say, what are the what is the complexity of the solution which I am proposing? I mean, in terms of resources, in terms of amount which is needed to put there, and what is the impact of that particular feature? I mean, how is it going to improve users' experience? So I believe that that workout, the scheduler thing. I mean, uh, if we can book the machines, if we can book the equipment, that is something I don't think that will require a lot of technical complexity and a lot of development effort. But this will actually, have a larger impact on the user, because major issue was the time. Major issue was that I have to wait for longer times, and I don't know that when to go to the gym, because I don't have a fixed schedule for my gymming activities, and my gym is not personalized for me. So
Right.
that is the issue. Now the so the impact is high in this case, while resources are also, I mean, less required. And the other thing in which gamification is needed, the music thing is needed, and all those things, that activity tracking is needed. So that is something which, for which technically I have to integrate with a lot of data. I have to be accessible. I mean, this app should be supported by the new fitness watches, maybe MI3, Google Fit, Fossil Watch, Apple Watch. So all these kind of devices I have to be catered to. I have to cater to, because I cannot restrict my user to use a particular kind of wearable device. So I have to cater to all of them, and then I have to integrate their access, the I mean, data from them. Also, uh, I have to actually use a lot of personalization models, because it may happen that for a male of 18 years with some sort of weight category, the data might be different, while for others it may be different. So all these things will take a lot of development effort. The impact still remains high, I believe, but still, since the development effort is lower in the first case, I can go ahead with the first one right now, and then maybe plan out the second after the success of this.
Sure. Sure. Let's go ahead with the first problem.
Right. So, particularly on the solution side, I mean, I have two stakeholders mainly in it. One is the gym owner or gym manager, who can actually feed into the app that these all the machines are available for the next day. And I mean, who can actually maintain, let's say, if some machine is out of working, it's not working, it is for maintenance, then he should have updated that on the app that this machine is not available, and so that customers actually don't go ahead and book that. And our major stakeholders are the users, who will be going to book their time slots and all. So I have to take care about two to three things. First of all, it might happen that somebody books a time slot and he actually doesn't appear at all in the gym. So while if it is in the case of traditional gym, the next in the line would have used the equipment. But now, my utilization of my capacity decreased. So this problem I need to address to, that who can actually book the slot directly. So for that, we can do some sort of this, that, let's say, if somebody is a regular member of our gym, we have tracked his activity, that he actually regularly books the slots in for the machines. I can give him access. I mean, I can give him a badge kind of sort thing, that yes, you can directly book the equipment right now. If somebody is a new customer, maybe that particular request can go ahead to the manager, and manager can have a one-on-one call with them, that if you are going to be appearing in the gym or something like that.
Right.
Because a lot of people, while discovering new features, actually sort of go ahead and then they don't appear because they were just trying out that how does the thing works.
Right.
So so I mean, we have to take care of that sort of things. I mean, anything else you are looking forward to? I mean, which I should address to in the
So,
solution?
so basically, your solution is like a scheduler that people
Right,
will have to book in advance. And one of the things you mentioned is like regular gym goers can get like a prioritization.
right.
Right. Right. So,
I mean, apart from that, I can also include one thing, that since I now know the user's schedule or user's behavior, that that people, this some sort of user actually books treadmill for daily 7 to 7:30 a.m. or such kind of thing. So I now have a data that okay, so these kind of people do workout in the evening. These kind of people do workout in the morning. I can so the app can actually suggest them that maybe the evening schedule is heavier next day, so there might be a rush, so you can book a morning slot instead. So what the normal map, for example, if I talk about Google Maps, so it says, right, that this your regular route is busy today, you can take an alternate route.
right.
So that kind of notification or pop-up might get it will attract users attention, and it will help us to retain that and also achieving our capacity. Because in the morning, let's say if we are running at 80% capacity and evening is usually 100%, but now we are shifting some of our users to utilize the morning thing. So our gym is running at its best capacity, it is optimized. Also, a user is also understanding that yes, the gym wants to cater to me each and every day, and that's why the gym is insisting me to do workout in the morning today.
Right. Great. So what are some like trade-offs or some possible problems that can arise with this?
Right. So one trade-off which I can directly see is that during in case of traditional gyms, let's say if a treadmill is being used by a person and three people are waiting for going ahead, and just because one of them was going late or something, one of them just leaves off, and two of them are still waiting. So
Right.
we have two potential customers who will actually be utilizing our machine.
Right.
But now, since we have booked this machine for one particular customer in one slot, now we know that it will be utilized only by one person, and we are not really sure about the next time segment, because it might happen that nobody after 9 a.m. books the slot because it is the office time or something like that.
Right.
But in the previous case, it may happen that somebody who is not really that busy, he can skip, or he may arrive his office late, let's say at 9:30. He can actually wait till 8:45 and go ahead by using the gym at least for 15 to 20 minutes. But now, since my app is showing a particular time slot of 45 minutes, and he can only choose from 9 to 9:45, and he cannot choose from 8:45 to 9:15 or some that kind of sort, the flexibility reduces. So
Right.
that is one trade-off which I have to. I mean, I will have to lose some of my customers at the initial stages unless attain my full capacity.
Right. Right. And also the other thing, right? People booking and not showing. I mean, that is also
Right. So that actually increases the human effort. I mean, so initially nobody was actually calling to people and trying to book the slot or asking them if you will turn up tomorrow. I
right.
mean, the subscription thing was an altogether different line. But for regular customers or for normal customers, nobody was doing that. But now we have to give this duty to one person, that if somebody new is actually signing up on our app, you have to call him up and ask if he is really coming tomorrow or not. So
Right.
we are actually engaging one of our resources in this particular thing.
Right. Right. Great. I think like we'll wrap up the answer. So I'll give some like feedback, and then you can also ask some questions on
Sure.
what you have in your mind. So like first of all, like you had like a decent structure. So like the general structure that people follow is like when you get a question, you try to clarify the problem statement. Like you said, like is it a digital or a physical product, and what kind of a gym is it? And once that is clarified, then you get into the users, then you get into the pain points, and then you get into the like the vision that you have, focusing on one pain point, and then the solution and like the trade-off. That is like general structure that is followed, and like you are like more or less in that direction, so that's fine. And so coming back to the beginning, so like the question was very broad. So like what is how do you improve the gym experience with like a high tech gym? So
Right.
maybe so generally like when you answer it, it's better to like give options. So for example, like you directly asked, is it a physical or a digital one? So instead of asking it that way, like you can say that there are these three kinds of possibilities. You can improve it using a physical product, or like a digital product like an app, or something else, or like a manual resource. So
Right.
which of these should I focus on? So
Okay.
basically like framing it in a different way, saying
Right.
that I'm aware of the options, and do you have any particular inclination towards any one of them? And most interviewers would say that they don't have any inclination. You go ahead with what you think is best.
Okay.
So what's the best way to like go ahead from there is like uh, you know give a small justification that uh, like a digital product is much more scalable and easier to implement, so that's why I'll go ahead with a digital solution.
Right.
Go ahead. So yeah, I mean that's like one thing to improve like the clarification question. And then like coming to the users, so you distinguish them by age groups. That is also fair, but one thing was that like the age group you chose is like very broad, so there are like many differentiating features within that age group also. So
Right.
maybe like you could have uh, on top of age group also, you could have like differentiated them by, let's say, like there are these power users who are like gym freaks, and then there are your like you know casual users, or like regular users but like not very power users, and then there are your people who go take a subscription and then don't show up. So
Right.
these are the different possible segments, and uh, this is like based on user behavior basically.
Hmm.
And then like maybe choose one of them for whom the experience can be improved, so that like you retain more users. uh, so that is one suggestion there. And yeah, so coming back to the users, yeah, like going into the behavior of the user, and like uh, yeah, so that was fine. Like you mentioned the behavior as like time constraint is like one behavior that is there in the user. And the pain point is that like time is like often you are wasting your time at gym equipments. Second is like uh, there is no gamification which you otherwise have in like digital products and your virtual gyms, and even tracking is missing. So, and uh, I mean that's great. Like I think that was like the strong part of the interview, where like you were able to really dig into the pain points and like structure it. And so coming to like the solution part of it, like I mean you can, there is no like hard and fast rule that there is like one right answer, but
Okay.
try to like go for the most creative answer, that creative pain point that you can solve for. So I think like you had a resource constraint in your mind, that like I should like minimize technical resources, but like generally like in an interview that's not expected, so it's good to mention. So it's good, like it shows your technical awareness. So
Right.
you could probably say that this has less technical constraints, this has more, but like this is a more creative or impactful solution, and I want to go for it unless you have some objections to it. So
Right.
and So the one you solve for is also like definitely a very important issue. Uh, but like I feel like in the gamification, you could have, if you talked about it, maybe like more creative solutions would have come up, and it would have shown the creative side as well. So great. Anyway, so like this, when coming to the solution, I think uh, a scheduler is like a very straightforward solution, and like most people would think about it. Um, so it's important that in a scheduler, like the trade-offs are the most important thing. So you mentioned all those very well, like the fact that someone not showing up, how it affects it, and like the other things of resource utilization, and like the equipment utilization won't be maximized. And so the the trade-offs really shows the thinking process in the solution that you gave. So it was good in that way. And yeah, I mean, I think like the structure, like it was good overall. And uh, I think like it's those few suggestions, if you can like incorporate later, I mean, you can really like uh, give a like really like interview that really stands out, because it'll show your structure and it'll show your thought process and the creativity also.